Don't go recommending these anime to someone who's never seen anime before. I've seen so many people recommend Dragon Ball Z, One Piece, and Demon Slayer, which is a huge mistake. So here are 3 tips that you should think about before you start recommending anime to non-anime people. The third tip is something that my friend told me just made him hate anime. My first tip is to recommend anime that is short. Usually I see people recommend anime that require way too much time investment. This could quickly overwhelm somebody who's on the fence about anime. Remember guys, the goal shouldn't be trying to convince them that your favorite show is good, therefore anime is good. The goal is to convince them that anime as a genre is good, they just need to figure out which is the right series for them. So instead of giving them one long series to watch, try to give them multiple small series to give a taste of. So that way you guys can give them better future recommendations. Second tip is don't give them culture shock. Look guys, I like fan service as much as everyone else. However, not everyone's gonna find it spicy on their first time, especially if they're new to the genre. Also, introducing them to anime that require beforehand knowledge about anime culture or Japanese culture is not a good idea. For instance, Konosuba is one of my favorite animes of all time, but most people who have never seen the isekai genre won't truly appreciate how funny it is. Another example will be Kakegiri. While I do love it for its high tensions and high stakes, its over-the-top expressions is gonna weird anybody out who's not used to anime. Heck, I'm a seasoned veteran and even then it's a little too crazy for me. Before we move on to the last tip that could turn any single person into an anime hater, could you guys hit the subscribe button with your nose? Not only would I appreciate it, but also I'd be really impressed because it's actually really hard to do when you have an oily nose like myself. Alright guys, the most important thing that you have to avoid doing when you first recommend anime to someone who's never seen anime before is don't recommend anime that has too much yelling. Now trust me guys, this is something that I didn't really notice about anime until obviously someone pointed out. I took one of my friends to go see Dragon Ball. One of the things that I noticed about him that he really liked was the action. He said, man, I loved everything about it. I'm like, would you watch it ever again? And he said, no. And I'm like, really, why? He's like, well, it has too much yelling and I find that pretty weird. And it kind of got to me in my head because like, I was like, well, that's something I've actually never really thought about. And from then I just started becoming really self-conscious about how much yelling there is in anime, like how over the top the expressions are. It's just something that is really important to think about from a person who's never grown up with that kind of culture. So here's my secret weapon to converting non-anime fans into huge fans. And it stems from a very simple philosophy. Try to recommend anime that people are gonna relate to. Don't try to show them a whole new world at first. And I know it's in our instincts to try to show non-anime fans the hidden gems that they missed out the entire life, but trust me guys, let's first try to convince them and take the first step to lower their pre-existing biases against anime, because anime is cartoons, it is animation, and it's often associated with kids. So try to aim for animes with Western tropes and universal concepts. Animes like Cyberpunk, Your Name, Frieren, Jujutsu Kaisen, Noragami. Lastly guys, don't be afraid to recommend mainstream anime. Look, I know, they're not the best around, some of them don't even deserve the awards that they receive, but let's keep it real. The numbers don't lie and they resonate with a lot of people for a good reason. So it's really important that when you guys make recommendations, you guys push your ego aside and recommend your personal favorites a little bit later on.